Hi, it's Dr. Drowsy with Minutes for Moms, here to give you more practical pediatric advice. This is going to be our fourth video in our series of 5 about your 4-month-old. Today we are going to talk about sleep. Sleep is obviously a very important thing for us and for the baby, so there's a couple different things that we're going to work on to get that baby to sleep better, and really the things that you can expect. By 4 months of age, that baby really is typically sleeping about 15 hours throughout that day total. So that's usually going to be broken up, obviously, into nighttime as well as nap time. Usually the baby is having probably 2 to 3 solid naps. Usually you're getting to about 2 if they've got that 2.5 hour naps. If it's not as long, they're going to do 3 solid naps. So that's kind of your daytime napping stuff. But kind of the nighttime is really the big issue that we're going to work on today. From a sleep at night, one thing that I want is that baby should be able to go 10 hours, but should be able to go 6 to 8 hours without physically eating. And that's easier said than done, but it's something that you can really start to expect from the baby. So I want that 6 hour without you needing to physically feed. And what happens is then they just get better and better and longer sleep cycles where they will be sleeping through the night. And that's something that we will be expecting by 6 months of age. But until then, we're going to work with some of this stuff here. So the reason why you can expect that that baby sleeps a little bit better is they're starting to evolve into more of a mature sleep cycle where we have the 4 phases of sleep, kind of what you and I have. The baby is evolving into that. So they don't automatically go straight into that deep REM sleep where their eyes are rolling back and forth. It's going to be more, they hit in their light sleep, stage 1, stage 2, and they kind of go down through there. So that's why you're going to be able to work with doing some sleep. So one thing that they are able to do is they're able to start to self-soothe. So that means that they're able to do something to kind of get themselves. So they're able to kind of maybe go to a specific position. They're able to find their hands. They're able to do something to help also get them sleeping better without you physically helping them. So that's kind of that self-soothing part. The other thing that we kind of work on is what's called sleep association. And what a sleep association is that means I need you to do this for me to fall asleep. So the 2 most common sleep associations that the babies have will be feeding and physical touch. So a lot of times it's going to be that nursing or that bottle feeding or rocking to sleep to get that baby to go to fully fall asleep. So you're going to try to minimize what that baby requires with that sleep association. So what I mean there is from a feeding standpoint, what you'll be able to do is say when the baby wakes up and you typically nurse the baby for 5 minutes or you give the baby 4 ounces. Well, what you're going to do is tonight you will nurse the baby for 4 minutes or give only 4 ounces. And then tomorrow night you're going to nurse the baby for only 3 minutes or 3 ounces and slowly start to decrease how much that baby gets, and you will slowly start to wean that expectation. The other thing is going to be that physical touch. It's going to be that rocking. It's going to be that kind of swaddle, that warm, kind of fuzzy feeling that we get when somebody's holding us. You're going to extinguish that as well. And how you're going to go about that is when you're holding that baby and that baby looks like they're starting to kind of fall asleep and they're drowsy, put them down. Put them down drowsy but not awake. And what happens is they will then kind of look around, but I'm already starting to that sleep cycle going down from that first stage to the second stage to the third stage. If they're in that first stage drowsy, they will then continue to go down as you go put them to sleep. And, if they kind of fuss a little bit, that's okay. Let them fuss because they're already in that initial phase of sleep, and they will kind of go down into that fourth one, down through that full sleep cycle there. So those are the ways that you can kind of change a little bit of those sleep associations. One thing that you do hear people talk about is that 4-month sleep regression. What does that mean? That just means that they're for whatever reason that they have kind of regression, obviously, in their sleep patterns. And how you're going to help minimize that is obviously you're going to keep the room quiet. You don't want any loud noises. Try to kind of minimize much of anything at all. Sometimes you have to put a white noise in the background to kind of help soothe that baby. The other thing that you're going to do is keep the room dark. The baby does not need a nightlight. The baby is not scared of the dark. The baby does not need to be able to look around to what they're looking at. Keep that baby's room dark and it'll make all the difference in the world. And the other thing that you're going to do, establish a sleep routine. And what I mean by a sleep routine, that's going to be, we're going to feed the baby, we're going to give the baby a bath, we're going to read to the baby, and we're going to then start that routine of you kind of falling asleep. So those are really the big things that you're going to work on to kind of start to help the baby get good sleep habits. And that's really where we're starting at that 4-month visit. So I sure hope this gave you a ton of advice for that 4-month-old sleep. Once again, I'm Dr. Morazy with Minutes for Moms. If this is your first time coming to my channel, please subscribe and give me a like. If there's any future videos that you would like for me to work on, I'd be more than happy to hear from you in those comments. Until then, now you know what I know. Bye.